It is 8 o'clock on a Friday night. You are standing dead center on the Las Vegas Strip between the Bellagio and Caesar's Palace. This moment right here, it is supposed to be the loudest, wildest hour on Earth. You should be fighting through shoulder-to-shoulder crowds. You should feel the ground shaking from the bass. But tonight, you don't hear a party. You hear the one thing that should never exist in Sin City: silence. I'm not talking about a quiet lull. I'm talking about a ghost town. Look around. Where are the bachelor parties? Where are the tourists? Instead of crowds, you see vast stretches of empty concrete. You pass a gift shop, and the clerk is staring at a blank wall. You check a menu, and suddenly, the silence makes sense. $26 for water? This isn't just a slow night. This is a crime scene. For decades, we had a deal with Vegas. We lose a little money, and you treat us like royalty. Cheap shrimp, free drinks, and the illusion that we own the world. But the corporations running this town got greedy. They decided to break that deal. They thought they could strip away the magic, replace it with a spreadsheet, and we wouldn't notice. They were wrong. What you are seeing on this empty sidewalk isn't a recession. It is a betrayal. The billionaire CEOs in their glass towers thought they could squeeze the middle class dry without consequences. But the ugly truth is finally out. The people have voted with their feet. For the first time, the House is losing. They tried to turn a playground into a bank vault, and now they are watching their empire crumble from the inside out. Stick with me. Over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to expose the 7 specific sins that killed the Strip. We aren't just looking at numbers, we are uncovering a scam. I'll show you the price wall trap that forces families to hide in their hotel rooms, and the secret no riff raff strategy that deliberately turned these streets into a ghost town. And you need to stay until part number 6, because while the casinos are crying about lost profits, there is a much darker statistic they are terrified to admit. Part 1, the Ghost Town Reality Check. Let's be honest about the lie we were sold. You see the commercials, right? Drone shots of fountains blasting, beautiful people clinking glasses, a city bursting with energy. That is the Instagram Vegas. It promises you that if you aren't here, you are missing the biggest party of your life. But walk with me in the real Vegas. Last Tuesday, I walked from MGM Grand to the Venetian at peak dinner time. 5 years ago, that walk was a battle through crowds. Tonight, it felt like a post-apocalyptic movie set. Escalators running empty. The famous bridges, once packed with street performers and hustlers, were completely desolate. Defenders will say, it's just a Tuesday, or it's the off-season. Don't believe them. I have been coming here for 20 years. I have seen Vegas survive recessions and heat waves. This is different. This is structural. Look at the eyes of the few people walking around. There is no joy. There is only exhaustion and panic as they check their banking apps. The atmosphere has shifted from anytime can happen to how do I survive this trip? The life force of the Strip has been sucked out, leaving behind a city that is clean, shiny, and dead. The lights are on, but nobody is home. The cognitive dissonance is deafening. You stand there, wondering, where did everyone go? And why are they hiding? The answer starts with the receipt in your pocket. Part 2, the price wall scam. It brings us to the main culprit. The reason the sidewalks are empty isn't because people stopped coming to Vegas. It's because once they get here, they realize they can't afford to leave their rooms. We need to talk about the price wall.
You just heard all the time, like they booked it, they saw the price, and then all of a sudden, when they get to the casino, they fly there, they drive there, they check in, and the price is double. I'm like, well, that's just a scam.
I want you to picture a regular family, the Smiths, arriving for their dream vacation. They check in, excited, ready to explore. They walk out to a bar on the Strip, order 2 cocktails and a water, and the bartender hands them a bill for $98. $98 for well liquor in a plastic cup. That is the moment the dream dies. That is the moment the roaming stops. They realize that simply stepping outside their hotel room is going to bleed them dry. In the old Vegas, the strategy was loss leaders. They gave you cheap food and cheap drinks to get you out on the floor, to get you moving, to keep the energy high. Today, the corporations have inverted that logic. They view every single interaction as a chance to gouge you. They lure you in with a deceptively low room rate. maybe $59 a night. But then they ambush you with a $50 resort fee, a $25 parking fee, and a hidden venue fee just to sit in a chair. It feels less like a vacation and more like a shakedown. The consequence is a phenomenon I call the Walgreens effect. Next time you're on the Strip, look at where the crowds actually are. They aren't in the casinos. They are standing in line at CVS and Walgreens, buying cases of warm beer and bags of chips. Why? Because the Strip has become a financial trap. People are literally hoarding supplies and retreating to their hotel rooms like they are waiting out a hurricane. This behavior kills the street life. When you make it financially impossible for a normal person to bar hop or wander from casino to casino, you destroy the kinetic energy of the city. The sidewalks are empty because the price wall has turned the outdoors into a VIP section that nobody can afford to enter. They wanted to extract maximum value from every customer, but instead, they forced everyone into hiding, terrified to spend another dime. Part 3. The death of street anchors. But it's not just the prices that killed the walkability of the Strip. It's a deliberate destruction of what urban planners call anchors. Think back to the Vegas of 10 or 15 years ago. Why did you walk from Treasure Island to the Mirage? You walked to see the Sirens show. Why did you walk to the Bellagio? To see the fountains. Why did you stop at the Rio? For the masquerade in the sky. These were free, massive, public spectacles. They acted as magnets, pulling thousands of people down the sidewalk, creating a river of humanity that flowed from one property to the next. Corporate accountants looked at these shows and saw only one thing: cost. Why are we spending millions on a pirate show for people standing on the sidewalk who aren't gambling? So they killed them. They drained the canals, they shut down the volcano, they replaced the magic with drugstores and Sephoras. This was a catastrophic miscalculation. Those free shows were the heartbeat of the Strip. They were the street anchors that gave people a reason to leave their hotels. Without them, there is no destination. The sidewalk is no longer a stage. It is just a long, hot slab of concrete connecting two casinos that look exactly the same. The result is the Uber isolation. Now, without a compelling reason to walk, tourists simply take an Uber from door to door. They bypass the street entirely. The connective tissue of the city has been severed. The sidewalks are silent because the corporations removed the very things that made them sing. They saved a few $1 million on pyrotechnics, but they lost the soul of the street, and with it, the vibrant, chaotic energy that made Vegas, Vegas. Part 4. The No More Riff Raff strategy. But the emptiness you see tonight isn't just an accident. It isn't just a side effect of high prices. It is, terrifyingly, by design. We have to talk about the No More Riff Raff strategy. For years, we suspected it, but recently, the actions of the major casino conglomerates have all but confirmed it. The executives looked at the crowded sidewalks of 2010, the college kids sharing a room, the retirees with their coupon books, the families with coolers, and they didn't see vitality. They saw clutter. They looked at their marble floors and decided that normal people were visual pollution. They didn't want a crowd. They wanted a curated collection of wallets. So they engineered a purge. It wasn't just raising prices. They actively removed the infrastructure for the middle class. They ripped out the benches so you couldn't sit for free. They raised table minimums to $25 or $50, ensuring that a casual player can't even sit down. They eliminated cheap parking. They removed the affordable food courts. This was a calculated move to filter out the, quote, low-value humans and build a playground exclusively for the, quote, whales, the ultra-rich who don't care about the price of a cocktail. Well, look at the street tonight. The strategy worked. The riffraff is gone. The families are gone. The middle class has been successfully evicted. But here is the massive miscalculation that is haunting these boardrooms. The whales didn't multiply. There simply aren't enough ultra-rich people to fill a 4-mile boulevard of mega resorts. The silence at 8 p.m. is the sound of a failed ecosystem. They wanted exclusivity, but they got emptiness. They destroyed the base of the pyramid, the regular people who created the energy, the buzz, and the background noise that made the rich people want to be here. Now, the high rollers are sitting in empty VIP lounges, looking out at an empty city, wondering where the party went. The executives got exactly what they wished for: a private club with no members. Part 5. The Food Hall Effect. This engineered isolation follows you inside, all the way to how we eat. If the sidewalk was the arteries of Vegas, the buffet was its stomach. It was the town square. You remember the old buffets. They were loud. They were chaotic. The air was filled with the sound of clinking plates and laughter in a dozen languages. You stood in line with strangers from all over the world. You bonded over the crab legs. You sat at long tables close enough to hear other people's conversations. It was a shared, communal human experience. It was the one place where the millionaire and the mechanic ate the same prime rib, side by side. But the corporations killed the buffet. Why? Because it's inefficient. It requires too much staff, too much food waste, and too much lingering. So they replaced it with the food hall. Walk into one of these new luxury food courts at the Aria or Resorts World. It is beautiful, sure, but it is sterile. It is soulless. There are no waiters to joke with. There is no conversation. You walk up to a glowing touchscreen. You tap in your order for a $20 slice of pizza. You wait for a number on a digital display, and you eat it quickly, often standing up or rushing back to your room. This is the grab-and-go culture. It turns dining from a social event into a solitary transaction. It lowers the social temperature of the entire resort. When you remove the communal dining tables, you remove the chance encounters. You remove the noise of people having fun. So now, you have a city where you walk alone, you ride in an Uber alone, and you eat alone in front of a kiosk. The food hall effect has successfully turned the most social city on Earth into a collection of lonely individuals, staring at their phones, eating overpriced food in silence. Part 6. The Safety Vacuum. And this leads us to the darkest consequence of the emptiness, the one the tourism board begs you not to notice. We need to talk about the safety vacuum. There is an old rule in urban planning: eyes on the street make the street safe. When there are thousands of normal, happy tourists walking around, criminals stay in the shadows. The crowd is its own security system. But when you drive away the families, when you price out the middle class, when you clear the sidewalks, you create a vacuum. And in a city like Vegas, that vacuum gets filled very quickly by something ugly. Walk the strip tonight, past the closed construction sites and the empty storefronts. The vibe isn't peaceful. It's menacing. Without the buffer of the regular crowd, the predators have become emboldened. The street performers in costumes aren't the friendly characters you remember. They are aggressive hustlers who block your path because they are desperate. The shadows seem longer. I spoke to a security guard off camera, and he told me the truth. When the fun stops, the fear starts. The silence at 8 p.m. isn't relaxing. It's a warning. It feels like you are walking through a neighborhood that has been abandoned, leaving you exposed. Tourists feel this instinctively. That's why they are taking Ubers even for short distances. They aren't just avoiding the heat. They are avoiding the vibe. By chasing away the Riff Raff, the casinos accidentally created an environment that feels less safe for their precious whales. They wanted a sanitized luxury mall, but they got a desolate alleyway where you constantly check over your shoulder. The party is gone, and a subtle, creeping sense of danger has taken its place. Part 7. The Final Verdict. So, what is the final verdict on the silence of the Strip? When you stand in that silence at 8 p.m., what are you actually listening to? You are listening to the death of an American icon. For 70 years, Las Vegas was the one place where the rules of the real world didn't apply. It was a classless paradise. It didn't matter if you were a plumber or a CEO. You drank the same cheap beer, you watched the same free volcano show, and you stood at the same craps table. That democratic debauchery was the secret sauce. It was the magic trick that made you happy to lose your money. But the new era of corporate ownership has forgotten the most basic rule of the casino business. You have to let the player win sometimes. Not just with money, but with the experience. They looked at the inefficiencies of the old Vegas, the cheap buffets, the free lounges, the pirate shows. And they didn't see fun. They saw lost revenue. So they sterilized the chaos. They replaced the character with commerce. They monetized every breath you take, from the moment you park your car to the moment you sit by the pool. And in their obsession with turning Vegas into a global luxury brand like Dubai or Macau, they stripped away the very thing that made it Vegas. They built a beautiful, gleaming, high-tech machine that has no soul. It's a soulless luxury mall disguised as a city. It is clean, it is safe for the shareholders, it is optimized for maximum extraction per square foot. But it is dead. The silence on the strip tonight isn't a mistake. It is the inevitable result of a business model that treats customers like enemies to be conquered, rather than guests to be entertained. They wanted to squeeze the golden goose for every last egg, and they squeezed so hard, they killed it. The neon lights are still bright, but the electricity, the human electricity, is gone. And unless they realize that a city without a soul is just a pile of concrete in the desert, that silence is going to get a whole lot louder. But I want to hear from you. Am I crazy, or have you felt this shift too? Are you one of the people who used to love Vegas but now refuse to go back because you feel like a walking wallet instead of a guest? Tell me your story in the comments. Tell me about the moment you realized the old Vegas was gone. I read every single comment because the only way we force them to change is by speaking the truth. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more honest investigations into the places we used to love, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We are just getting started exposing the ugly truths they don't want you to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.